Scholars who have studied the lost Ark of the Covenant have debated whether the Ark is made of gold or wood or both, what kind of powers it has, and ultimately where it ended up after vanishing from Jerusalem in 587 BC. God gave the Israelites extremely specific instructions for building the Ark of the Covenant. According to God, the Ark should be made of both wood and gold. However, the wood must be acacia wood that is 3.75 feet long and 2.25 feet wide. God then instructed the builders to sheath the wood with gold both inside and out. There was to be a cherub facing a certain direction on the lid of the chest, with its wings spread upward, casting a shadow below. To imagine that Israelites wandering through the desert for 40 years were expected to create such an artistic masterpiece with only their hands and some gold is a huge undertaking, even with God's guidance. To make this story more believable to modern people, it is now believed that God chose only one man to be the designer of the Ark and gifted him the skills he would need to complete the task. One of the most popular theories is that the Israelites used the Ark to gain advantages on their way to conquer Canaan after their extended journey through the desert. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Ark had the ability to stop water from flowing in the Jordan River so that the founders of the Ark could carry it across. It is also believed to have helped the Israelites in various battles on their way across the desert. Because the Ark was thought to be so powerful and had brought the Israelites such good fortune, it became a hot commodity. It was eventually stolen from the Israelites, but shortly thereafter, the thieves were swept with disease and fatal illnesses, causing them to return to the Ark immediately. Once the Israelites had reached Shiloh, the Ark was taken by King David and given to Solomon to be brought to Jerusalem, where it would stay in the temple. Roughly 2,000 years ago, the Ark disappeared once again. Scholars predict that the Ark was stolen for its supposed powers and is now hidden in Ethiopia at the St. Mary of Zion Cathedral. The cathedral has a monk called the Guardian, who is the only person allowed to see the Ark. There has been no authentication of the Ark to determine if it is the original from the Bible stories. Other theories run rampant about the true location of the artifact. The Book of Maccabees states that the Ark is hidden in a cave in Mount Nebo, and will remain unfound until called upon by God. At that point, we will know that God is giving us mercy because of the prolific powers that the Ark holds for human beings. Still, there is always discussion about the Ark being revealed only when the Messiah comes to earth to rescue his people. And finally, the Ark is also believed to reveal itself only in the final days in the existence of the universe. Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell went down in history as a military and political figure who freed England from the authoritarian Charles I. He was given the high honour of being the Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, Scotland and Ireland. However, this is not his only legacy. While the English praised him for his great bravery, he was despised by the Irish, who believed he was a king-slaying religious maniac. Let's dive deeper into this mysterious historical icon who, until this day, is believed to be the man who made a pact with the devil. In 1599, Oliver Cromwell was born to a wealthy family in Huntingdon, England. He grew up to be such a statesman and a respected member of the community that later on he became part of the Parliament for Huntingdon in 1628. With regard to his family life, at 21 years old, he married Elizabeth Cromwell, who was a daughter of a businessman. They had 9 children together. Although little is known about his early life, he was described as an intensely religious man who believed that God is guiding his victories. He was known to be tolerant, if not a supporter of the Protestant faith. However, he hated the Catholics and they hated him back. Oliver Cromwell has committed extreme measures as a militarist, which many considered as genocidal. He was, and still is, widely criticised for such acts, especially in Ireland. After having slain King Charles I, not everyone was pleased with Oliver Cromwell. The Scottish people saw him as a mass murderer of men, women and even children, and they strongly believed that he needed to be stopped at all costs. They wanted Charles II to take his place. It was a war between parliamentarians and royalists. In history books, this is known as the Battle of Worcester. After months of fighting against the underdog forces of Charles I, Oliver Cromwell knew that he was going to win the war. He had a significantly bigger army of men to fight for him. At this point, the royalists can only die or surrender to him. It was on September the 3rd, 1651, when the mystifying thing happened. Oliver Cromwell was in a camp in Perry Wood, a secluded area deep in the vast Feckenham forest. He, together with his captain of his own regiment, Colonel Lindsay, were taken to the woods to meet a mysterious elderly man holding a roll of parchment in his hands. Allegedly, this old man offered Cromwell to have whatever he wants for the next 7 years, and after that, he, the devil, will have complete mastery over his body and soul. According to the alleged account of Colonel Lindsay, Cromwell argued with the devil and demanded 21 years instead of only 7. After this, Cromwell happily screamed and celebrated because now the battle is in his hands. Soon after that encounter, the Battle of Worcester ended with thousands of men and horses killed and a lot more captured as prisoners. Cromwell has greatly won. However, his victory was not for long. Exactly 7 years after his alleged deal with the devil, he passed away due to multiple severe illnesses attributed to malaria and kidney stones at the age of 59. In 1659, Cromwell's son Richard, who was also his successor, surrendered to Charles II less than a year after his death. This is known in history as the Restoration. Fueled by vengeance, the new king ordered that the body of Cromwell be removed from his grave and be executed despite already being dead. Cromwell was hanged and beheaded in public, and his head was placed on a spike above Westminster Hall. The question of whether or not Oliver Cromwell's deal with the devil was for real is still left unanswered and continues to be a mystery more than 3 centuries after his death.